All the parts have arrived for the upflow filter build, laid out, ready for assembly. As you can see, I've already attached the airline fitting, praying that that doesn't leak. Hopefully it shouldn't. All assembled and installed. Seems to be working fine, and fortunately no leaks. 10 litres of K1 micro, and a 95 litre air pump. Seems to be boiling it really efficiently. .10,000 litre water pump set at 30%, and I'll get back to you guys when I first do the first clean, see how efficient it is. Just need to get a cover now to block the light, stop it going green.
Good morning. It's a brand new day and it's beautiful. Sun's out, and let's hope it stays like that. I just want to show you these plants that we've got on the showers. We've had a comment or two asking us about them and what they are. So obviously I think people know what they are. I think the name is Celerolia or something, but I'd rather just say mind your own business, it's a lot easier. But as you can see, when Nige bought them, they were only tiny little plants, and I think they're off eBay. But he also decided to choose slightly different shades of the green. So we've got some really pale ones, some slightly yellow, and some a bit more green. And they've gone absolutely ballistic in this pond room. Since we put the canopy on, the plants, most of them anyway, have really gone ballistic. In particular, one here. I don't know all the proper names of it, but as you can see, hopefully you can see, it's gone crazy, and we call this the mother plant because the amount of cuttings that we've had off that is unbelievable. We've given so many away, and the other one at the other side of the pond there, hopefully you can see, that was grown from a cutting, and one here with a different plant in there as well, just to give a little bit of variety, a bit more interesting. One thing that, well, not one thing, we've got one or two hanging baskets in here, but again at this time of year you'd expect to be on the way out, but you know, they're still looking good. As they do decide to sort of fade out a little bit as it gets colder, maybe we'll put some more winter flowering plants in. So yeah, they're still looking all right. We do have one or two false ones. It might seem a bit weird, but there's no way we could put one there and sit there. Problem with watering, I reckon. So, well, that one's real. But over the pond, that one, that's a false one. The one over there with the ferns, this one with the ivy, and then another one at the far side of the pond. Obviously too difficult to actually water with the pond underneath, but at least it adds a little bit of balance and some colour in here. There is actually a story I could share, so just bear with me. Wisteria. When Nigel first planted that, he got visions of it flowering and beautiful cascades of flower and making a wonderful archway, but it looked like it would never happen. Not sure if it's in the wrong place, so comments would be helpful. Maybe it needs to have a bit more light, we're not too sure about that. But as a bit of a joke, I went and got some silk flowers off Amazon, I think it was, and while he wasn't here I threaded them through just to see whether he'd notice or not. Well, his face was a picture when he saw it from the other side of the pond room. I don't think he quite knew what to think, but to be fair, it didn't take him long to realise it was just a joke. This is our fantastic jasmine. It goes absolutely berserk. Keep cutting that back. And a couple of unusual ones here. That one and one of my favourites here. I have to move because I don't think you can see for the light very well. But these are called lipstick plants. I think it's pretty obvious why. I absolutely love them. The other one's slightly different. I bought it as a lipstick plant, but I'm not too sure if it's just a variety of, but the flowers don't look anything like this one. But these, that one, another one at the other side of the pond, in fact 3 in total, were rescued during lockdown. They were left at my work, but it got so cold with nobody in there and no heating that they were almost, well, I'd say they were dead. But Nige managed to bring them back to life and they're thriving and they love it in here. One thing we do have a problem with, and we have spoken to a few fellow hobbyists who successfully grow acers. What's gone wrong here? They just don't like it at all. And so we've learnt from people in the know that indoors is no good, and we thought it would be perfect. So obviously, lesson learned, they will go outside, fortunately in a pot, and we'll see what we can do. Other plants that are surviving well are these. They seem to love it too. So obviously we'll get more of them. Another lesson learned. And the coleus, done fantastic. Can't tell you how many times this has been cut back. Just keeps wanting to bounce back. Love it. Ferns do well, obviously. Perfect environment for them. And we've got a couple of little bonsais. One there that Nige started to do a little while ago, but I think he was a little bit disappointed. But when we went to Birmingham Toy Show last weekend, we got this one, and I just managed to get that, I think, to look really well. And one of the things we saw there was, instead of wiring the actual branches, someone had anchored them down to the pot. So that's the technique that Nigel's done, and I think that works really, really well. Thank you for that tip. Probably a bit difficult to see because obviously the light's behind, but as you can see here, this is what we do with the cuttings. So we've got loads of coleus ready to go, and some of the plant, I must find out what it is. I'm sure I've known at some point, but forgotten. Yeah, so again, loads of cuttings to go to friends or whoever would like them. They love it here, obviously ideal with the light coming in. Now, harvesting the water from the pond, we found that these are better than ever, obviously. Pond plants, I guess. Venus flytrap. Nige knows what these are called, afraid I don't. But unusual, they're attractive, and absolutely loving that pond water. This is our garden outside. Only very small. Obviously the pond's taken up quite a chunk of it, but that's fine. In the corner there, difficult to see again, I think the sun's quite bright, but that definitely needs thinning out. It's a little pond, and the water from the pond goes in there. We did put some shubumpkins in. I think there's probably one left, but obviously it needs a clear. But it obviously grows really well with the pond water. Acer, you see, this one was doing okay. So That's what we need to do. We need to be bringing them out as soon as whenever we can. Even though we've only got a little space, when we went to Cat and Steve's, Cat and I Koi, I was quite inspired by her vegetable plot. So I think I'm going to get some pots at some point and grow a few veg ourselves, because you don't need an awful lot of space if you do them in containers, and I think it'll work really well. So this is the little pond area that needs clearing. Nothing at all, we're old school here, goes to waste in this house. So the water from the pond drains into this bucket, and then Nige puts that in a water butt, and that's the water that we use, or he uses, for all of our plants, and they seem to love it.
Fish are all looking great at the moment. Pond temperatures at 21 and they're feeding like crazy. Really doing well. A number of people have asked me about the homemade showers. These are made out of garden planters that I bought off eBay. And the spillway back into the pond is a tray again bought off eBay, and I cut that down to size using a jigsaw. The offcut from that I made the lids. As you can see, the entry point is at the rear. I wanted to do that to make it as discreet as possible. The media in there is Bio Home Ultimate. The T-piece there, up to the second one. These are fed by a 20,000 litre water pump, which is here. That's set at about 60%. And I wanted to take it from the drum, the supply from the drum, but I was a bit dubious about cutting a hole in it, so I've used the drains and thought, well, if I'm going to do that I might as well take the drain feed from the moving bed as well, the RC moving bed and drum, because that drain pipe was already in and I've just teed into it and put a ball valve there, so I can still use it as a drain if I so choose. And this is my trickle out arrangement. It goes down to the drain there. So that's the combined drain for the trickle out and the drum cleaning. So thank you for watching.
Yeah, and it's still a beautiful day, and we're soon to set off to visit one of our fellow club members' ponds, which is something that we do regularly, normally, but we've not been able to do it for quite a while. So we're really looking forward to catching up with everyone, having a good chin wag with fellow koi enthusiasts. Yeah.
And we'll catch up with you next time when I give you an update on the upflow filter and how efficient that is working.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.